vlogs, I thought I would showcase my current build that I'm playing. If you're interested, what I'm doing is I'm playing Corrupting Fever, and I'm playing Reap, and I'm using Kinetic Blast to proc it. The way I leveled the build was really simple. I used axes, and I used the steel skills, and I was on a 4-link with like life tap, onslaught, chance to bleed, maim, all that good stuff. I was running around just chopping and changing, and I found it quite a breeze to level. As you can see, this is effectively how we leveled the whole character, and I never seemed to really run out of damage, which was nice considering that I just haven't used this skill before, and it felt pretty nice. So if you want to look in the description down below, there will be a path of building of what to follow. You can also use Spectral Helix. It was just that I had played a whole hardcore SSF mode to 90 using Spectral Helix, and I didn't want to use it again. So I used this. As you can see above my mana bar, I'm also building up a little bit of rage with an axe mastery, and it was helping carry my damage throughout the whole campaign. And I'll just show you how the build functions, and then obviously if it looks boring, you don't have to play it. If it looks good, you can think about playing it. So the general idea is you're shield charging around. You're throwing out Kinetic Blast to proc Corrupting Fever, which basically applies Corrupting Blood. So as you can see here, the idea is with shield charging, we are using Kinetic Blast to proc Corrupting Blood, and we are having Hemophilia Gloves cause explosions, and it's actually a really fast build considering that I've put probably 30 chaos into the build. And basically 20 of those chaos was a wand, which realistically you don't really need, and it's not one of those memes that you don't really need it, but you really do. No, I actually have played till level 73 on a white wand, so you really don't need it. It just has a slight bit of minion damage and some other stuff on, which I'll show you later, but this is how the build works, and it's pretty damn good for the Sanctum so far, because everything's a small room, and we all know how Kinetic Blast does inside small rooms. And obviously once you've applied Corrupting Blood, you're going to start ticking down, and it means that you can dodge. Now the way the build is set up is we have this wand which has +1 fizz gem, minion damage, and some fizz dot. This costs about 20c, but what you'd basically do is you make a character, you make him level 1 by making a character, running him to Hillock, scroll and a scour, and then creating a book of aggression and de-leveling him to level 1. Then you can go ahead and you can purchase these wands, and then you can just basically augment them and alteration them to try and get +1 fizz. Or these are also a good way to make leveling gems, and the reason we do this is because then it has like no int requirement, and we're obviously quite int starved, and that's kind of how it works. That's basically what I was using for the whole duration up until about 10 minutes ago, which obviously gives me nothing. It was just I needed a wand to proc Kinetic Blast. So the wand is kind of irrelevant. I'm just using shield charge in it. Helmet, this cost me 3 chaos orbs, life, resist, and some intelligence. Chest piece cost me, I think it was 4 chaos orbs. It's a 5-link, it has life and armor. This cost an alchemy orb. It's just making me put vulnerability on the enemies. This was just found whilst playing the game. It's not good at all. 25 life, it's just resists. This is awful. This just gave me intelligence at the time to level some gems up that I needed, and dex, which I don't even need, so this is awful. The boots, don't need the dex on there. 20 move speed, some life, just ones that I found. And this is a belt that I found in a map, which has some res and some life. It's pretty decent, but it probably costs 1 or 2c. And then these gloves cost 4 chaos, and these are basically what cause enemy to explode. They're kind of key to the build, but luckily they're very cheap. Obviously you can corrupt them to get vulnerability on hit, but that's very expensive. And then this shield cost, I think it was 9 to 10c. So it was basically, I've spent I think I had about 100 chaos. Most expensive piece was this wand at 20c, which you don't really need. It's about 20-30c of gear, which I think is pretty reasonable. and the output you get is definitely something that I don't know how it's going to handle in the main of the game. It seems pretty like it's going to be pretty good. Like I say there, the only sketchy part is just pressing your initial Corrupting Fever, but eventually that will end up costing less life as we get more passive points. And it creates this really fast playstyle, which I've been enjoying. I just wanted a build that, after playing Spectral Helix Juggernaut in Solo Self-Found, I wanted a build that had a bit more speed, and I think this definitely has it. So in the description will be a path of building on basically how you want to level this, and I'll give a website that I came across as well that might help you if you don't mind using Spectral Helix. But you can see it's pretty damn good for how little I've put into it, and I've been enjoying it. The flasks are kind of not really set up, they're just any old flasks, but they give you a rough idea. It's just evasion armor and a silver flask. So what you can also do is on bosses we'll have frenzy like this to keep frenzy up, and the nice thing is our charges last a long time, you see, because we have this mastery down here, 100% charge duration, and as we start to get more charge duration and more endurance charges, you don't really have to have a really crazy playstyle to keep up frenzy. You'll know that some builds, when you want to keep up frenzy, you have to play like a lunatic to keep it up, and you have to be fast and can't stop to loot. But this, because our charges last so long, yeah, it's pretty chill. So that's kind of how the build functions. I think it's pretty good. I'm only like level 17 gems, but we are already in maps now. It's going well. Unfortunately I can't stream it, but if anyone's got any questions, or yeah, just feel free to pop them in the comments. I know the only awkward thing about the build is just remembering to keep Corrupting Fever up, but when you're in a map and you're hitting stuff all the time, it's up the whole time. The actual league mechanic I'm not too sure on. I haven't really messed with it too much, but it seems pretty good for the league mechanic because we can jump around and dodge whilst things tick down. But that's where we're at. I thought I'd just throw it up just basically so you've got something to look at if you're really struggling for a build. This one does work. I'll put the PoB website in the description. Cool.